don't wanna wake up and let my dreams die. This moment I'll make it mine. Don't tell me I'm wasting time. I'll show you what I'm made of and give my dreams life. I'll put it all on the line, just like I'm young, wild and
Hey there, everybody. My name is Carter Hall. Welcome to another episode of the What Really Happened podcast. I'm super excited for today. My guest today is been a powerhouse in the fitness world and things of that nature. You can catch her on her Instagram and super inspiring. Yes. Haley Sparks, how's it going?
Man, thanks, Carter. It's going really well. Thanks for that little intro. It feels good to be called a powerhouse. So, yes, thank you I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, your Instagram feed is probably whenever I am on it and I see your Instagram or whatever, it's so inspiring. So I mean, just from fitness and things of that nature. I mean, just it's so motivating because I do CrossFit at CrossFit 806. So anytime I do CrossFit, I see your stuff. I'm like, dang, I need to go in the gym right now and get some work in.
Yes, man, that's awesome. Like that's really that's a big part of why, I started my Instagram as basically like a journal or diary, actually, Carter, is for that, not even for just motivation, but for the inspiration too, because I've just been so vulnerable on there throughout all these years. It's been nice to know that it's actually, motivating or encouraging to someone else just watching, because you never know who it reaches. So thanks for that.
Yeah, for sure. So, how does fitness like play a part in your life? I mean, like you kind of touched on it a little bit, but if you want to dive a little bit into it more, if you like, how did your fitness overall? I can't speak today. I'm sorry. So, how did your fitness journey start?
Man, that's a good question because, like I am a twin, you work out with my twin sister at 806.
Taylor.
But that's kind of I've been blessed to do this whole thing together. Growing up, we got into cross country in seventh grade and we didn't realize how much we'd actually really like it, but then also kind of how gifted we were at it. So it's always encouraging to really pursue something that you're passionate about. So we started cross country in seventh and eighth grade, and being from a small school, it's a 1A school, so we were able to play all the sports. So we did basketball also. I got into track and then pursued that after high school as well. So even after high school, ran collegiately for 4 years at West Texas A&M, and then was blessed to even go abroad in Spain and run a semester
Wow.
there too. So sports has always been a part of my like life and my testimony, but I feel like I've had so many different seasons mentally and like physically because, after my collegiate career where I was running 80 to 90 miles a week as a distance
Wow.
runner, I was extremely sick with an eating disorder, and it took me over a decade to kind of get through that and get over that. So getting into CrossFit about 5 years ago, it was really just a journey to myself to prove like I can build. That's why I really like they called me a powerhouse, because man, Carter, like that was my goal, is like I want to build a machine, and I want to be strong and just use my body as to be a warrior instead of like a victim. So my fitness journey has been really personal to me, but has had so many different kinds of seasons, if that's made any sense.
Oh, it makes a ton of sense for sure. So you just said a lot of great things. Like I'm so motivated just hearing that. So I mean, a lot of things to say. First and foremost, that's pretty cool. Like you sharing a lot of the information. So thank you for sharing that, Haley.
Mhm.
But so I was gonna say, like you mentioned, one of the first things that interested me, the first thing you said was you ran in Spain, abroad.
Uh-huh.
What was the like? So you ran it. You said collegiately. How'd you go from running
Yeah.
collegiate? How'd you run from running collegiately to running in Spain? What was that experience like?
Yeah, man, that was a trip. So my major actually is Spanish. So
All
I
right.
majored in Spanish, got my bachelor's degree, and taught high school Spanish for 3 years with cross country and track. So in order to like really immerse myself in that culture, I applied for the study abroad program in Spain, got that. So one of my teammates, Maria, she was from Spain. I was like,
Okay.
Maria, hook me up, bro. Like, can I try out for a team in Spain? Like, what's the way to like get on a team? So she kind of talked me through that. So when I got to Spain, it took me a week to find the track because I was still really new to Spanish and literally didn't know how to get anywhere. So I was running one day, found my track and my coach, tried out for, the team, all that good stuff, and ran my last semester of cross country in Spain and won all my medals. Like they called me Maquina, which means machine in Spanish.
Oh
So it
wow.
was a really cool like journey, like one that would be in a book. It was awesome.
It sounds like it should be in the book, for sure. Like, it sounds like a story to tell. Like, it sounds like a really great
Right?
story to tell for sure. Have you like that's
Yes.
something you ever like ever thought about venturing into, like as a path, maybe like doing something like fitness, like talk about your fitness experience or something like that nature?
Oh, absolutely. Like even more so the last, I would say year or so, I have a business. So it's kind of, expanded and transformed and all the things this last year, but speaking has become a major thing that I'm doing now. So I go and talk to, collegiate groups now, like the FCA groups, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I'll go and
Yeah.
talk to those groups at WT and, trying to get at Texas Tech as well and Wayland Baptist. But speaking to those kinds of groups is a very big part of my heart because of where I've came from and where I'm at now in my fitness journey.
Heck yeah, that's so inspiring to hear that too. So just hearing that, I'll have to ask you this. You talked about a warrior mentality and a warrior spirit earlier. So I want to ask you this. You talked about you going to like talk to different colleges and things of that nature about fitness. I was gonna ask, like, what about fitness and having that warrior mentality and spirit? Like, what about fitness? Like, are you most passionate about? Is there many things you're passionate about with fitness, or is it
Mhm.
just one thing?
No one's ever really asked me that. That's a really expansive question too. Uh, I love testing like just the grit, actually the warrior part, but faith is a big part on my side. So it's more like, you know, the more I can do with my body, it's like the more I want to go, like the further I want to go. And I've always just been really, really interested in finding my true innate potential. So I just really, really love the challenge and I love finding that dark place. And, I'm always constantly trying to sharpen my mindset to be stronger too. So I'm never complacent in just working out or, going through the motions. When I see my programming, I'm like, where can I really build mentally in this workout? Where can I challenge myself mentally in this workout? So it's always something I've used to just sharpen myself as a person, morale and character, which CrossFit will do for you
Yeah.
very easily.
For sure. Programming and faith, I think, bringing those two together, I think, is a great, great thing. Obviously, I'm a
Hmm.
firm believer in that for sure. Is I think about the CrossFit community. You can speak more about this if you like to, but I believe is like I said this on a podcast, I believe not long ago, that like iron sharpens iron, and CrossFit I
Hmm.
think is a really great tool for that because you're doing it on your own, but you also have a great community behind you, pushing you, and it's all about that mentality. It's like you go into that space, like I said, mentally, like just be able to push yourself and go into that dark place sometimes, but like also having that mentality, like, okay, like how can I work on this better, work on
Yeah,
that better, and having that iron sharpens iron mentality, I believe,
love that. And preach that, man. Like that is
for
so
sure.
true in CrossFit. I love that factor about CrossFit is just
Yeah.
being there for each other and really not really competing against each other. It's like competing for one another and like being there to hype one another up in their best selves. So I love that about CrossFit.
Most definitely. What about like that's a great thing too. Like CrossFit brings so many great things together, great people together, and
Hmm.
great things together, and
Hmm.
such a great thing that I believe. But like I think programming too is a great thing too. It's like that's the thing about CrossFit too. Is like programming is such a big thing too. Because for me, my bike is giving me problems today. I apologize. I'll fix it in a minute. But so I just want to say like, what about programming is your absolute favorite thing with CrossFit?
Mm. Well, specifically for my programming is because I've had a coach for I think since I've started CrossFit. Like I got into CrossFit, Brady, who you've actually just had on the podcast not too long ago. He and I were training partners for the very start of my CrossFit career until he left. So programming has been something I've taken very seriously from the get go. Like I got into CrossFit, hired a coach immediately. So the thing I love about programming is how specialized it is and individualized it is for my weaknesses. because I am someone that likes to go full throttle. So you got to tell me where to pump the brakes, and you got to tell me like, what's too much. And I really just like the linear progression in my weaknesses, because I couldn't do that by myself. So I think I just like the organization and like the guarantee that, hey, if you follow this and you be disciplined to this, then you'll get better.
For sure. That's a great thing too, because like you said, it's a progression thing, and
Mhm.
getting better at many things. For me, I'm a horrible runner. I'll admit it. Like I am a big guy. I'd much rather do bench press, anything strength related. When it comes to cardio, some cardio, I guess, than running, completely. Like at the beginning a few years ago, like get me out of here. Like I do not want to do any running or anything like that. And I still, but it's one of those things with the programming. I believe like it just allows you to do a lot of great things and work up to it. I believe it's a linear thing,
Mhm.
like you said previously. We can keep going up and up, and movements can be scaled. Like change, then obviously you grow up and get stronger, like more comfortable with the movement. So that's what I love about
Yes.
programming CrossFit too. Is that you can just continuously grow better at something if you're not comfortable with it. That's what I think.
Yes, so true. I work out with a lady, like she's usually in the class that I'm in open gym, but she's 57 years old and rocks those
Wow.
workouts. So I love that you can modify things up and down, but it just makes fitness functional for everyone.
Most definitely, functional fitness is a great thing. Like, that could be a
Yep.
tool, no matter the age limit. Age is just a number, and if you allow it to, you can just like it could be a great thing for everybody.
Nailed it. Yes, I agree.
And speaking of working out, what advice would you give to someone starting their fitness journey?
I would say find something that you actually love. Like, don't just do something because you want the results from it. Like, if it's going to be taekwondo, or if it's going to
Yeah,
be jujitsu, like kind of experiment around. And, if you just really don't like lifting weights, that's not your cup of tea. I think the thing that makes fitness actually realistic for somebody is them actually enjoying getting active. So finding a sport or an activity and getting a support system around you, I think that would make the biggest difference, is having that good relationship mentally with what you're doing.
yeah, that's a great thing. What you just said too. I apologize facing my life off camera once again. I apologize, Haley, but so that's like you said. The great advice is just I'm so sorry. This light is giving me problems. First time in forever it's giving me a problem. I'm so sorry.
No,
um
no problem at all. I can hardly notice it.
Technical difficulties. This I don't know why, but yeah, um so just I think whenever I first starting to CrossFit, like it's just being able to have someone there with me, just meet someone,
Hmm.
just like that you said to you, just having that mentality is someone. Advice that I would give too is like to add on to what you said, the great things you said too is like, you know, um be meet someone or go with someone. That's a great thing to do.
Yes.
That's another great tool I would add to that too if I could. But yeah, so bring someone, meet someone, be a friend, tell a friend about CrossFit, because a lot of great things about the sport of CrossFit is that you can meet so many great people who are passionate or maybe just as nervous as you, and you can do so many
Yeah.
great things with it. So
That's
um
so true.
yeah, so because whenever I first started back in 2015, 16, I was so nervous. I had butterflies in my stomach like crazy. And I still sometimes do, but it's a good feeling if that makes sense at all. If that makes any sense at all. Because like, oh my gosh,
Totally.
I'm prepared for this workout. I want to go do it. I want to do this workout, but how am I going to do an 800-meter run or 400-meter run, things of that nature.
Right.
Well, difficulties again with this light, I promise you, I swear. But the great thing too, yeah. So um yeah, just meet friends and meet as many friends as you can in CrossFit.
Yes. Love that.
Yeah, so talking about switching gears a little bit about cannot speak today. I apologize. How should people be supplementing if they need to?
You said, how can repeat that one more time, Carter?
I said if people need to be supplementing, how
Oh,
should they?
okay. That's a good question. So being a nutrition coach, also supplements is always a big talk as well, but supplements is very individualized for the person. So I don't think that anybody needs to actually be on any supplements unless it's like vitamins for your body, so magnesium, calcium, vitamin D, something like CoQ10. But those natural vitamins that we kind of naturally are in a deficit of because either diet or lifestyle, those are the kind of supplements that I truly would recommend for someone asking is seeing, hey, where are you lacking in your lifestyle? Is it energy? Okay, let's get on top of if it's hydration, maybe it's a vitamin D. Hey, you can't sleep. Maybe we need to, experiment with magnesium instead of melatonin. So the supplement route, I would say vitamins are the way to go, the natural way to go. Things like protein powder, stuff like that, because those are just filling the gaps of where we're in a deficit of. They shouldn't be, replacing things that we should be getting naturally.
Most definitely. Magnesium is a great thing too. I've tried it a couple of times and it's a great thing too. Just taking vitamins. I'm a big person too for vitamins. Like
Hmm.
obviously vitamin C, D, all of the above, everything. Just whatever you feel like you're most deficit at, work on it and build to it. Um,
Right.
those are some great tools to help you in the long run, I believe, especially with working out too, because you're
Hmm.
just bringing stuff back into your body that you need, just instead of just
Yes.
replacing it. So, that's a great thing too, like you just said.
Yeah, exactly.
So, kind of changing gears a little bit. You talking about your nutrition coach, right?
Hmm. Yes.
So, talking about kind of nutrition and things of that nature, like how important is like the right nutrition when it comes to working out?
Oof, it's literally the foundation. It's the base, especially if you're wanting to compete at a high level, or elite professionally, you have to have your nutrition in gear. It's one of the biggest things I focus on as an athlete, but also just in my lifestyle as well. So anybody that's wanting to even remotely stay healthy during their working outs and stuff needs to pay attention to not a diet, just like what you're eating, like eat the whole foods, pay attention to your caffeine, drink the water, get some sleep. It's really the simple things that we want to overcomplicate. But those things pay off in the long run if you do them consistently, and will definitely help in your fitness career because you're lowering inflammation, you're lowering cortisol, and it's creating less lag that's causing you to not be able to reach your potential. So nutrition is key.
Yeah, that's a really great because, like, for me, just I think one big thing that I've been working towards in the last couple of years for working out overall is just sleep. Sleep is a big thing, I believe, for me personally. Everybody is different. Obviously, working out, it's like not really cookie cutter. So the
Hmm.
best thing for me to describe is sleep for me, if that makes any sense at all. And
Oof, big one.
so, um, so sleep is a big thing. It's like be able to like do the right things to prepare because it feels like once you get sleep and wake up and getting that
Hmm.
restfulness, that eight no eight
Hmm.
or so hours you need, and you go into the
Hmm.
gym, it's better. I feel better once I get that sleep. That's sleep is a great tool, I believe, overall. A lot of great things,
Hmm.
except eating the right things, obviously, but sleep and eating along with working out is a great, I think, go together really great because without that, you said there's no foundation for at all for working out.
Yeah. And sleep is, just as important as the nutrition. You nailed that because if you're not getting the sleep, one, your body's not recovering. So you're actually probably doing more harm by going to work out instead of choosing to sleep in that day instead. A lot of people think that they have to work out, like the 7 days a week. But over this last year or so, when I was going through my shoulder rehab and knee rehab, I was working out 3 days a week because my body needed to build that vital reserve to be able to handle the volume that I'm now at currently. So sleep is literally just as important as that nutrition factor as well, which is that holistic approach to just a healthy lifestyle.
The holistic things you need to do in order to be a better version of yourself for the CrossFit, for your CrossFit workouts, excuse me, is a great thing. So, um, just finding what fits you, when you're not
Mm,
in the gym, when you're out of the gym, because being out of the gym is even as important, if not a little bit more important than being in the gym, if that makes any sense. It's like what you do out of the gym is really going to what catches up to you and make sure you find the right necessary things that are best for you, if that makes sense, I think.
absolutely. Yes. Yep. It's a lifestyle. You can't just work out and that be a part of your day. Like it's just got to be an addition to your day. Like it's just got to be part of what you're already doing.
Most definitely. And I was gonna ask you too, like who's like you obviously feel like you've like done a lot of great things in fitness and working out and we touched a lot of great things about that, but is there anybody who's helped you, or is there anything that's helped you with, this process?
In the beginning, Brady was a big part of my CrossFit career. I was literally coming from a little insecure cross country runner who was 120 pounds into like someone who saw something in me. And, Brady's a great coach. So he really just never cut me slack, which I loved. So he really pushed me to be a great athlete from the get go. And, we still talk and we're still really close today. So him and I, he's got a big part of my journey in my CrossFit career. But other than that, like my friend Lisa, and then my coach, it's really kind of a small circle here. When you really perform at a different level, you're not in classes as much. You're in open gym mostly. I work out by myself every single day, so it's kind of a lonely journey, but it's a one to stay focused on. So your circle's small, but it's a powerful one. So it's okay.
Yeah, you touched on about Brady. Brady's been a super, like, I've had him on the podcast a few weeks
Mhm.
ago, and Brady's like one of those motivating. It's just like y'all are both just super motivating people to like listen to and watch, because just be able to listen, just to listen to y'all like through osmosis, just be able to like obtain the information, like, wow, okay, this is what I need to work on, and really be dedicated to your craft with fitness and outside the gym. Because obviously I've known Brady since when I started working out at CrossFit at Chino
Yeah.
Valley. So to see where he's gone from then to now, it's just like, what, like, just big, big, big waves in what he's done in CrossFit. So to see the both of y'all doing that, I believe it really sets an example to really, so okay, this is the right necessary steps you need to take, not what you want to take. Because if you want to
Yeah.
once you hit your I cannot speak. When you set goals to what you want to do instead of what you need to do instead of what you want to do, you're going to achieve those goals, and they're going to mean much more to you.
Right. Yeah. That's so true. And thank you. Yeah. Discipline will always win.
Most definitely. And it sounds like you put like you have a like having that faith within working out and anything like that. I just want to ask you, like, how's your faith played a part, if you don't mind asking, like, if talk about this, but how's your faith played a part in your fitness journey?
Woo, man. Like my faith is my everything to me. It's my why. So
Yeah.
this last year, like I'll just tell you a small short testimony. This last year, I could not perform or do CrossFit at all because I tore my shoulder and my knee both. Okay. And I knew that was God's way of taking away CrossFit from me because my priorities were messed up. And I was putting my CrossFit career over my faith and my relationship with God. So this last year, it's completely changed my career having faith as my foundation because like I go into the gym and he is my reason. Like if it took if faith was something that I had to pursue over fitness, then it would be hands down okay with me. So that's really been a transition in my heart to be able to let my needs go and let faith take charge. So not only has it humbled me throughout this last year, but it's also just built I'm going to use the word again, a warrior inside me because I know who's working on my side. I have a confidence that I've never had before. I have a strength that I've never had before. And God calls us to live a spiritual and supernatural life. And I truly feel like I'm walking in that calling now. So I feel like I got an up having God on my side. And it's very nice to just have that balance now with fitness being second.
Yeah. That's Thank you for sharing your testimony. That's like
Hmm.
a really beautiful testimony. So thank you for sharing that. So
Hmm.
like you said, like having that balance between the two, like that's such an amazing thing to have, because obviously I'm a Christian as well. So having those two intertwined is such a great thing too. It's like learning to put your faith in what you can do.
Yes.
So like lead by faith, kind of leading that, going that direction. So that's a really great thing too. Like I always preach that too on this podcast or anywhere I can. It's like having like faith, but your God, but also having faith when fit your fitness. Be able to experience the great things that
Yes.
come with both of them.
Yeah. And I was actually praying before I got on this podcast, Carter. And I just wanted to tell you also that your boldness for doing this podcast and just for the people that you have on here is just creating waves in the kingdom too. So I'll say it over and over again. Thank you for doing this and for inspiring a lot of other people that you probably don't even know you're speaking to. So,
Oh, thank you for sharing that. I mean,
mhm.
I'm just a guy with a microphone, I believe. I mean, thank you for sharing that. I mean, if I inspire someone, well, at least one person, then at least I'm doing my job, you know. That wasn't the goal. The goal was to have fun doing something I love, you know. So thank you for
Yes.
sharing that. Thank you for just everything.
Mhm.
That's really cool to hear that.
Absolutely. Yes.
So I guess kind of talking about faith a little bit too is like, have you ever experienced, like, you kind of touched, I guess, a lot of great things. So kind of trying to like navigate where to go from here. But like, so were you always in fitness before? How can I ask this question? I'm sorry. So have you ever experienced, if I can get this word out, I'll edit this. Have you ever experienced a change in your fitness life, like with your faith, per se?
Yes. Yeah, okay, I get what you mean. Yep. Nowadays, like injuries, I rebuke them. I mean, seriously, like I will be that crazy Christian over there, but you worshiping on the treadmill. But for real though, like injuries don't intimidate me. I don't have anxiety before I work out, Carter. Like I just went through qualifiers and I felt such a peace from the Holy Spirit. I just felt such a confidence, like I said. Um, from just being able to conquer my mind, this last year that, I actually came out and won the first week of qualifiers for the fittest
Wow.
experience. And I knew that was from God saying, hey, your hard work is paying off. Hey, I'm rewarding you for just being patient this last year and enduring this process. So I would say, like, absolutely, my faith has changed the way that I work out because of the confidence and the junk that I've just got rid of in order to perform with a healthy mindset, with peace and joy and all of that good stuff.
Oh, that's so cool. I'll say congratulations on the qualifiers as well. Because I know
Thank
there's a
you.
lot of there's a lot of people competing with qualifiers. So congratulations on what you've done with qualifiers, obviously. 'Cause it's not, a walk in the park. That's something that you really gotta dedicate a lot of time to. So congratulations on just competing in that,
Thank you.
for
That's so
sure.
sweet.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
like I said, the hard work definitely does pay off. I'm a big firm believer in hard work always paying off. If you're gonna put the time in to do something, then
Mhm.
what's done in the dark is always gonna come to light, So
Yes.
what people don't see in the gym, the results are gonna show, tenfold, So the
Agree.
hard work is always gonna pay off 10 times out of
Yes.
10.
Totally agree.
For sure. And I'm gonna ask you like a couple more questions before you head out. I can't thank you enough for joining the podcast. So what's the best, like, in your words, kind of a loaded question, I'm sorry, but I guess, what's the best thing about being a believer in the fitness world?
I would say the things don't impact you the same whenever you're a believer in the fitness world. Like the intimidation, the competition mindset, like the comparison game, things don't, the outside distractions don't impact you the same when you truly are confident in who you are, your identity in Christ, what you bring to the table, because we all have so many different strengths and
Yeah.
weaknesses. But if you can turn and be neutral with that mindset on your weaknesses and use people that maybe are a little bit better in those areas as fuel and motivation to get better, or just, stay close to them, I would say, like, faith really just turns things around to be a positive no matter what. Like you will always see the positive because you don't want to give the enemy
Yeah.
authority by giving, falling into that negative mindset or speaking negatively about your workouts, speaking negatively about your performance in something. I'm very, very, very intentional on what I speak out loud, what I think, because I'm like, do you know what? I know who's working for me. I know who's working against me, and I'm only going to speak the truth and not the enemy's lies. If that
Oh,
all ties together.
right. You said that. That's most definitely right. Because um, never give your, feed into your, like, that, any of that negativity, anything like
Yeah,
that. Because you're just giving it more power, like you just said. And
exactly.
that's something that I've been learning on with just the last little bit too. It's like learning, okay, that positiveness, that putting your faith where it needs to be, not listening to any of the lies, things of that nature. Just okay, what's best going into the, like, not just working out, but life in general as a whole. Because
Yes,
everybody's, it may be a great day, but maybe not for someone else that's sitting to the left of you, or to the right of you. So learning to listen to the right voice, if that makes sense.
exactly. Yes, that totally does.
So just a couple more questions too, while we're talking about faith, excuse me. So what's been like, how do you like, what's been like your favorite thing to read in the Bible so far? Are you a Bible reader, first of all?
Oof, I'm currently going through theology school, so I spend some time in the Bible for
Sounds like,
real. Yes, currently reading through the gospel, so Matthew, Mark, Luke,
yeah,
John. But I've really loved reading through those smaller books in the New
yeah,
Testament, like Thessalonians,
oh yeah,
Galatians, Hebrews, and they are just packed with such good stuff about loving one another and supporting your brothers and sisters and grieving over their lack of faith also and fighting for them spiritually. So I really liked going back and reading like the small books in the New Testament and getting those little nuggets out.
oh awesome. Like that's like, I'm currently going through the New Testament as well. I'm in
Mhm.
Matthew right now, so I'm almost done reading that. So just to be able to listen, like read that and read those through those sorter books, excuse me. Um, sorry, and then just listening to that, and I think it's been a great thing to read lately for me. But let me tell you, so of course, whenever I got my first Bible, I tried reading, obviously all the way through, because I didn't know that's how you're supposed to study the Bible. I'm like, I just read, okay, through
Right.
Genesis, through Exodus, and then let me tell you, when I got to Leviticus, that was possibly one of the hardest books I first read. I'm like, it's so slow. Like I'm like, I this is like, why am I? Then I realized like I'm not the only one who, like, I've heard a couple of people say Leviticus was one of the harder books to read. I'm like, geez, that's the third book in I read, and like I didn't know, like, I'm the only one who felt that way. So, um,
Yes.
yeah. So, how do you like? Is there a way that you study the Bible?
Um, right now going through that theology class, it's kind of been great because it's like a guided study. So like we're going through and I would suggest this for other people too, maybe, is going through the New Testament first to gather an understanding of the new covenant, right? And then going back to the Old Testament and realizing like that was the book of the law and like
Yeah,
history. So because it can get kind of confusing, but I would say like just getting in the Bible. Like, don't go get the study guides, don't go get
yeah.
the devotionals. Like, get in the Bible and just pray for God to open that spiritual awareness and wisdom so it can make sense to you. Because that's what it's all about, is just being open to understanding, and He will give that understanding.
Oh, that's a great thing to hear too, because just to be able to have that wisdom, because knowing now, I wish I would have known that back then when I first started reading the Bible, because
Same.
I felt like it would have been a lot more smoother going into it.
Oh,
I felt like knowing now what I know then, I'm like, oh man, I'm also gonna go back in time and read, done that more better, gaining that wisdom, having that fluidity,
yes.
and being more smooth with that Bible studying, if that makes any sense. But
Yep.
um, yeah, so that's a lot of great things
Would
just
have
to,
saved me 10 years.
most definitely feel, yeah, for easy, for me too. But last question I want to ask you, so what advice would you give to people about fitness or faith or both?
I'm going to say both because they're both important to me. Uh, one, for fitness, like I said, don't worry about where you're at, like where you're at all. If you've never stepped foot into a gym, that's okay. Get somebody to go with you for accountability and just go do something that you think that you'll like. And if you don't, go try something different. But don't put your fitness in a box and say, hey, if I don't like this, then I'm not going to go get active. If you're just going to go walk around the block every single day and that's new for you, I think that's amazing. So I say don't put your fitness in a box and try it all until you find something you love, like we did with CrossFit.
Yeah,
And then I'd say with faith, my advice is to include it. If
yeah,
you're a Christian, like I just want to pray that Holy Spirit fire over anybody that is just, listens to this, because that the Bible can be hard to get into and hard to understand, but I don't want that to be a stopping point for your faith. So really just to start the conversation, start the relationship, forget about the religion, start the relationship, and just include God in your day. And include them in your workouts, because it really is the game changer when you can distinguish who's working against you and for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that advice, because you said too, it's not forget about religion, just building that relationship too, just going
Mhm.
from there. I think that's a really, really great like advice that to hear for sure. I mean, that's really, really great. So thank you for sharing that for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks, Brian.
yeah. So before we head out, is there anything else you'd like to bring up? Anything else you think that deserves to be heard right now?
I will say, you know, if anybody ever wants prayer or wants just a positive message or someone to just speak to, I'm always down for those vulnerable conversations. So I just want to offer that to anybody that listens as well.
Awesome. Well, Haley, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I had a little bit of technical difficulty, so I apologize on my end. But other than that, I can't thank you enough for coming on, and I'd love to have you on again and just talk about
Yeah.
like obviously fitness and things of that nature. So I can't thank you enough for making time out and just come on the podcast and share your story and give some great advice to people.
Yeah. Anytime, Carter. Appreciate it.
Of course. So thank you to everybody listening to this, and I hope you all have a great rest of y'all's day. And can't wait to go listen to the next one. So everybody, see ya. Haley, thanks for coming on again.
All right. See y'all.